Hey everybody, and welcome back to another video. I know I have been off for a little bit and I was posting. Bear with me, I have been diagnosed with pneumonia and bronchitis, so I'm gonna be coughing and my voice sounds like shit, so I apologize. But I thought I'd come on here, sorry, I get winded very quickly, and discuss the outcome of the Cindy Gladue case. A lot has happened, and I know I said I would do like another video in between the conclusion, but I kind of just thought we won't skip over it, we'll include it with this video. Dear God, I apologize for all the coughing, and because honestly there was a lot that was kind of said before, so I just thought I'd kind of just tie it in because it's a repeat. So where we left off with was that they basically were doing the retrial on a manslaughter charge, which means it wasn't planned, but it happened. And a lot of evidence was now talked about in this trial that wasn't talked about in the last trial, because the last trial, the first trial that he got off on, was basically a whole disgrace to Cindy and who she was as a person. They basically painted her as this horrible human being. And her family didn't stand for it. And they kind of degraded her on the stand, even though she was not there to defend herself. And so this trial that got taken to the Supreme Court, and basically it was deemed to be tried as a manslaughter case. So the evidence that was brought in was a kind of like a metal hanger that was discovered in a dumpster, that of course was wiped clean. However, they thought it was very fishy. They were able to bring in the kind of Bradley's laptop that had really disturbing sexual preferences and scenes and really graphic, basically torturing. And they wanted him to take the stand. So that's kind of where we left off. I know I kind of skipped over a few things, but I will link the other videos below. Dear God. So he basically took the stand and said, yeah, you know, we did meet up a few times prior to the incident, I think twice altogether. And yes, they did some rough sex with him inserting his fist into areas. And potentially that's how the injury that led to Cindy's death occurred. And basically he had to walk back a lot of things, because before he said he didn't know her, they didn't have physical contact. And then when he took the stand, he said, well, no, I did know her, I kind of lied about that. And basically he was just kind of ripped apart on the stand because, you know, he was very back and forth with his answers. And he basically didn't have answers for certain things of like, well, why did you leave the scene? Well, how did she end up in the bathtub? Like, why? Because like, if from her wound that was sustained, there would have been like a blood trail from the bed to the bathtub, and there really wasn't. It was basically like she was picked up, carried, dumped in there, and then that was it. And that is where she bled out and unfortunately passed. And he really didn't have answers. He just made excuses, and, you know, he's had 10 years to kind of paint himself as the victim type of thing, like, oh, you're making me out to be this bad guy. I'm not a bad guy. I'm a good father, partner, whatever. And it was just basically, it wasn't a good defense for himself. It was garbage, right? And, they had professionals come on. I talked about that. And basically, a fist would not cause the wound she sustained. There's no way. It was not done by a nail. It wasn't like fingernail. Like, it was deemed that. Like, it was literally proven that it wasn't that. Like, that's just bullshit, And the evidence was basically given of like his laptop and just the sketchy behavior that he did after. Like, he left the scene, he talked to a friend, and then he like tried to cover it up, and then he called 911. It was just a whole bunch of bullshit. So, the jury went in and they deliberated and they came back and they found him guilty of manslaughter. So basically that means he's going to go to prison or jail. I haven't read how much he's been sentenced yet. I think that's coming in the next week. However, it has been stated that he wants to basically fight it. He wants to put in the defense that it was rough sex and it was an accident type of thing. It wasn't, I did it on purpose type of thing. And he basically wants to fight it again. And okay, like, that's his right, I guess, I say that, but I mean, like, every person who has been found guilty has the right to fight it, right? And it's just going to be this long, drawn-out thing. It's been 10 years already, and it's just absolutely horrendous that it has taken this long to come out and basically find this person guilty. And Cindy can now, if you believe in that, rest knowing that her person who did this to her was charged and held accountable. Even though, he's kind of piss all over it again, of basically saying like, oh, she wanted it type of thing. I do not believe she went in there intending to die. I don't think that was what happened at all. There's pictures and evidence showing that, she tried to leave that bathtub, that she tried, but she was just losing too much blood. And that is such a lonely and scary way to die. And of how she was treated at the end is absolutely horrendous and disgusting. But why did it take 10 years to get here? I talked about this in my first video, that the first trial was handled disgustingly. They brought pieces of Cindy's body to court to have that on display. And that has never been done before. And the way that they talked about her was disrespectful of all accounts. Like, just because she was Aboriginal, which is a beautiful, beautiful, I want to say, culture. And, those people have had horrendous treatment. And it just boggles my mind that these beautiful people are treated like garbage. And that was proven in the first trial when they kept calling her an Aboriginal sex worker. a whore. That was stated in documents, that that's one of the words that they called her. And they constantly belittled who she was, just because, yes, she was into drinking and drugs, but you know, she was trying to do the best that she could. She, again, if you watched my first video, you understand this. She did not have the best childhood. You know, and she did have beautiful daughters, and you know, she was trying to figure out her life. And yes, it wasn't the right path that she was on, but we've all been there. We've all made mistakes. We've all gone down a shitty path. But she loved her children. She loved her family. And to have this happen, and to have how she was treated, is just absolutely disgusting. And I'm honestly really glad that this trial was taken more seriously. That the prosecuting team treated Cindy with the utmost respect and dignity that she should have gotten in the first place. They knew that they were in bloody hot water because of the first trial was a disaster. And they took the time to talk about her as a person and not as this person she was painted before. And, you know, this has affected so many lives in a 10-year span. And when you guys have been commenting in my last video of, you know, this trial, and you guys have been really kind of in keen with this, and you guys know when that verdict came down, I cried because I was relieved for Cindy's family, that she was able to get some justice, and I was relieved that the truth was finally seen. And selfishly, I was relieved for myself. And I don't want to take anything away from Cindy. This is about Cindy, so I will probably talk about that in another video. But, yeah, it has been a long 10 years. 10 years. Almost. Exactly 10 years. And it's just mind-boggling that when that sentence came down, guilty, relief. Unfortunately, this case did not get a lot of coverage. Cindy did not get a lot of coverage because, you know, it is a older case, but I think that shouldn't matter. I think a lot of people were treading water on how to handle and talk about this case, because of the mistreatment the first time around. Dear God. But it's scary, you know, to see in our justice system how people can get away with it. You know, if they are a certain way, a certain background, a certain line of work. And I think that is totally unfair and uncalled for. I know I'm just summarizing everything, guys, because there was a lot to unpack in this case, and a lot of disturbing things that, again, I want to do the utmost respect to Sydney and her family. Cindy was a beautiful human being, and I want to show her that respect, and I'm not going to come on here and disgrace that. Yes, I did do a video on the first video. I went into some very disturbing details. That was all made public, and I wanted to just do that video. As this new trial, it was very handled in a very different way, and it's not my place to come on here and degrade her. I want to give her the respect that she deserves. And I know a lot of people might be commenting, oh, like, well, why didn't you go into this detail? Why didn't you go into this detail? Again, it's more about me respecting her than anything. And this, the main thing is, finally she got justice, you know? And it's just that guilty verdict. That, yes, it doesn't bring her back. It does not magically bring her back. But it lets people know that you cannot get away with this, of treating people like this. And just because you do have a certain line of work, a certain background, doesn't mean that you shouldn't get justice. You know, those 3 beautiful daughters that aren't going to get their mother back. But it does give them a little bit of peace of mind, knowing the person that hurt their mother, that ended up killing their mother, is behind bars. Now, I will be doing another video when the sentencing does come down. I haven't seen it as yet, as this video is coming out. The sentencing has not been dropped yet. So I will kind of do a, not conclusion, that kind of sounds terrible, but a last piece into this until we hear more about the appeals, which hopefully that's years down the road. But yeah, I will kind of just, wrap everything up for now. And yeah, that's about it, guys. I know this video is short compared to my other videos with this. However, I'm sick. And my voice is going, my breathing's going. You guys don't need to be listening to more coughing. And I just wanted to get down across the main point, as the verdict is guilty. When I'm feeling better, guys, more videos will be coming out. I just wanted to kind of get this video out, because I know a lot of people have been anxious and watching this. Again, once I'm better, I will be doing a kind of talking about the sentencing and all of that, and kind of just go over this video a little bit more gracefully, and a little less coughing. But anyways, thank you for sticking around. Thank you for the support and the comments of just kind of following this case. It has been a long time coming. So remember, guys, your voice can be heard. Even though it is scary and it may take time, your voice can be heard. Let's just remember that you are enough to never give up and always keep fighting. And you are very much loved. Until the next video, guys, remember, please be respectful in the comments below. And if you guys do have any kind of deeming questions that are related to this case that aren't appropriate to leave in the comments, please feel free to email me. That is the kind of way we can have that open communication without, saying too many not harsh, but, you know, hard things to talk about in the comments that we just want to be respectful to the parties involved. Okay, anyways, guys, I'll leave you guys there and have a good weekend, guys. Bye.